Hey everybody, this is Big Benedict. Thanks for joining me. I'm doing the challenge of Hades for God of War Ghost of Sparta. So I'm doing this in the same manner in which I did the challenges for God of War 1 when I was doing those challenges. So what I did when I did that challenge video was, instead of doing a challenge per video, I'm going to just, since there's only 5 of these things, as you can see here on the screen, I'm just going to compile all of the challenges into one video. So I will be, in the description, there will be time codes to skip ahead to whatever challenge you need to go to. The last trial is the one that takes up the bulk of this video, but I thought I would do it this way, and just, go one right after the next. It worked well last time, and I felt it would work good this time too. These challenges are, some of them are pretty fucking tough. I think I wouldn't even call any of these easy, except kind of the fourth one is a little easy when you're just smashing stuff, but definitely the first couple of the first two are very difficult. So I'm glad to be doing this. It's going to be giving you an in-depth analysis here of all these challenges, because I always find these to be very interesting. And by the way, incidentally, you can't go from challenge to challenge the way you can in some other God of War games. You have to go in order of these, so you have to complete. For instance, you would have to complete challenge 1 to go on to challenge 2, and you would have to obviously complete challenge 2 to go on to challenge 3, and etc. So that's the way it works. And the first challenge is it's a tough one. It's called Fiery Fate, and it's simple in theory, but there's a lot of little technicalities that make it a pleasure to learn, and it was a pleasure to do all these, although some of them take a lot of skill. So that's always something that I like to test. Test my own mettle as a game player, as a God of War player who has played every single God of War to death, and who really likes these challenges. So I believe there's a trophy for doing these challenges too, so I hope I could help people not only beat these challenges but earn the trophy for completing these. And I believe they also unlock other treasures within the treasures menu. So here we go. It's challenge number 1, Fiery Fate. Let's take a look at this first challenge here. Okay, so this is the first challenge. It's called Fiery Fate. Now, we have to kill 50 soldiers with the burning mechanic, the Ifrit magic. So, you notice they give you health and magic chests on the left and right side. I'm not sure why they give you alternating chests. One theory of mine would be that it makes your life a little more hectic trying to get to those chests. Now, you notice this Cyclops over here. If that Cyclops hits any one of these soldiers, it's the end. You're going to be perished. You cannot hit. You cannot kill any of the soldiers, and you cannot have the Cyclops kill any of the soldiers. You could try to kill the Cyclops, and it won't count against your score, because we're trying to kill the soldiers, not the Cyclops. The Cyclops is there just to make matters worse for us, and just try to get into the densest group of enemies, and when the Cyclops comes up, just kind of hover right next to him, and as long as you're doing the Ifrit magic, any attack that the Cyclops does to the soldiers, even if it's like a direct hit on a soldier, it will not hit the soldier, and it won't count against you. So it's really fair in that regard. So, you're going to get some magic drops, but always quickly refill your magic when you get depleted of it. Even if you're almost close to, even if you only have like one use of it left, I would recommend filling it up again, as long as you're being conservative about, or rather smart about how you're killing these enemies. As long as you can get them into like a group of like 4 or 5, and then go to town on them. Like right here, I got like 4 out of that 5 I was aiming for. I think right over there, or somewhere around there. It does kind of, it is kind of a close call about all the magic. So essentially, you get about 3 health. You get 3 full bars of magic, plus all the magic drops. So you probably get around 4 bars of magic, and the E-free magic itself isn't that costly. So just keep burning these guys and keep. You see, this was a pretty tense situation because I needed to get this chest. I did not have any use of the magic, so I needed to get some more very promptly. So that's what happened there. And now I am taking care of the rest of these guys. I'm going to kill the Cyclops in the process. So I'm in good shape here. You have to be very conservative. First of all, be very cautious about getting into the densest group of enemies, and then also making sure that you hit those boxes quick. Okay, perfection. Kill 20 fire guards without being hit. This is extremely difficult, and I'm using the gauntlet. Now these fire guards here, the attack that they do, the only attack that they're going to do here is that leap attack, where they somersault in the air and they hit you. If you try to block that and it hits you, it's gonna say failed. You cannot block their attacks. You have to parry their attacks. Now that might seem a little bit too radical for people who aren't too skilled at parrying, but that's the only way you can do it. Except if you just want to dodge. That's kind of how I play it once I swap out for the Blades of Chaos. Using the Power Glove, it is much quicker to deal with the enemies, but you're a little bit more. It doesn't have the range, obviously, so this would be more suited for the person who can parry a lot. If you're more keen on dodging and you're better at dodging, swap out for the blades. I am going to swap out for the blades when I get to 10, just to show you the 2 varieties of gameplay over here. So you could still parry perfectly well, like I did right there with the Blades of Chaos. It's just that the blades, they're at their strongest power. They're at level 4, I believe, in this game. They only goes up to level 4. So all of your weapons are fully upgraded. It's just that compared to the Power Glove, this weapon is not as strong, but it has the range you need. So the square triangle move is very good here. One big issue is that the enemies are going to be coming up. They're going to be attacking you from off the screen, and that's why you need to be very cautious and just keep circulating and just do a couple of quick cancelable attacks if you think any of the enemies are close by you, but you can't see them. Like, see how I'm doing? Maybe I didn't do it right there. But if you're pressing the square button to do a couple test hits and the controller's vibrating, that means that there's enemies close by. So you could fail at this point, and then it's just you get really pissed off to fail at this point in the game. So just be extremely cautious, and at this point I wouldn't recommend parrying anymore. Parrying is something you do when there's not that much risk, unless you're very good at it. Here I'm not taking any chances. I just played for like 3 or 4 minutes to get this finalized here, and we killed the 20 fire guards without being hit. That's tough. Okay, life is short. You are losing health rapidly. Kill all your enemies to survive. You notice those bodies that are crucified to those columns there. And by the way, the best move to do on this Cyclops, L1 and square. It takes his armor off so damn fast. I don't think I did that in my other playthrough, because this guy is a time waster. Your biggest issue here is time. There's not a clock counting down, but your health is going to be draining consistently. So anytime you want to hit those bodies, they'll give you a little bit of health. And there are a ton of these harpies to grab. So what I like to do is just grab a few and then get some health, and use the R1 and square move, I believe it is, to throw projectiles at these birds, so I can get a bunch of them killed, because there's just a hell of a lot of them. Grab killing them is probably the quickest way to go, coupled with, like I said, the projectile magic. Hit the bodies for health. You really don't get health anywhere except for those bodies. I think you may get some from, sometimes you'll get a little health here and there, but it's very minimal. And so we almost took out the last harpy there. He's almost dead. So this is kind of like there's the trial in God of War 2 that's a little similar to this. It's called You Are Cursed or something like that. Same kind of conceit here that's going on. So here, you see how many harpies there are? It's just ridiculous. So I think that may be the last of them. And then we have these enemies here. There's 3 of these guys, but look how quickly they got destroyed. The triangle times 3 combo. If it makes direct contact with them, all 3 hits, they get the circle prompt over their head. And also, look at that, we get some health drops. Sometimes you need to roll around. Sometimes if you kill one of these guys and just stand in one place, they won't spawn, so you got to keep moving around. So it's nice to have the blade. This is pretty much most of these trials. They're on. I think it would equate to like normal mode. So the damage you deal is like on normal or maybe even easy mode, and that goes for your hit points too. So it's some of these trials, while they're difficult, they're on an easier setting. So we have survived. Okay, so this next trial up here is called Crunch Time. This is a tough one. It always comes down to the wire. What you want to do is have the power glove equipped and start hitting. I just like to go counterclockwise. And you see how I'm hitting a statue and a Medusa head at once? That's what you need to do. You need to hit 2 at one time. So kind of get in the middle of both objects. And here we have to kill Hades, or destroy the statue of Hades. And then it takes a lot of hits, but remember, hit 2 at once with the power glove, and then keep moving. You could go clockwise. It doesn't matter, however you want to, clockwise or counterclockwise. But once I complete this, I'm gonna swap out for the blades and do some heavy area damage with the triangle times 3 combo, and some quick cancelable attacks, and then turn that particular set of cancelable attacks into the triangle times 3 combo by spamming that square button and then spamming the triangle button, and then it's completed. It's tough, but it's manageable. Okay, we broke all the objects, and now we're on the epic brawl. Kill all your enemies. It is if you want to consider an epic brawl as being a brawl where there is a shit ton of enemies, then this does qualify as an epic brawl. But if you also want to consider, a brawl like this as far as like how fun it is, this is not fun. This is actually very boring of a brawl. I mean, they could have put a little different enemies in here. They could have had the enemy counts a lot less here. These fucking harpies here, there's so many of them. And this always reminds me of Dead Space, grabbing an enemy, and like, all you need to do here, the only way you can grab these guys is to hit them once with the square button, and then you could like pull them towards you, even if they're clear across the screen. And it reminds me of using the stasis module on Dead Space. I mean, you could pull a heart. It's crazy. I mean, they will be like on the other side of the arena practically, and you can just grab them. As long as you hit them once, then you can pull them to you. Otherwise, they'll always evade you. So, I mean, just look how many harpies there are. I'm just focusing on the harpies here just to get them out of the way. Just doing 1 slash at a harpy, and gonna wait to deal with the hoplites after. This is the video that's gonna make this, this is the segment that's gonna make this video rather long, approaching the half-an-hour mark, I imagine. This is not hard. When I was looking at the damage I was taking, it's nowhere near. I don't even think it's. I think it's on easy mode. This is it on easy. Possibly normal mode. I'm not sure. I'm not intimate with those 2 difficulty modes. You know me. I'm a hardcore guy. I always do the hardest settings on these games. But So it's the only real hard part, and the only part that causes me stress is that when we have the Gorgons coming out, and we have hoplites intermingled with the combination of these guys plus the Gorgons, and I don't understand why it's not friendly freezing with the Gorgons. Like they'll do their stone gaze, and it'll directly contact these guys, but it doesn't petrify them like it does in Ghost of Sparta and every other God of War game that I know about. And I know every one of them because I've done a guide for every one of them. So that's an issue. But the real issue is getting petrified by the Gorgons when they come out in a moment. You'll see them. Getting petrified by a Gorgon, and then having one of these guys these guys are very aggressive with their hits. They hit a lot. So getting petrified and then getting stone crushed. And I think this battle lasted about almost 15 minutes, and there's two sections where there's Gorgons and these guys, and one of those sections occurs later on in the video, and it's something that, I mean, if I didn't get stone crushed on the second time, but the first segment I did once or twice, and I lost about probably 5 or 6 minutes of progress. So here are the Gorgons now. It's just that if you commit like 10 minutes to the Brawl and then you get stone crushed in a tenth of a second, and it's game over. It actually occurs somewhere. I get petrified over here. I know I do. So this run, I wanted to. Well, let me just talk about what I was before I went off on that tangent about that. It's just that if you commit 10 minutes to this and then you get stone crushed, it's like you get so irritated because you have to start at the very beginning and then deal with that huge wave of harpies again. So essentially, you don't want to be doing what I'm doing right there. I knew I needed to get down to the ground. You don't want to be in the air because on landing you'll be crushed by your own weight. You see how this is no friendly fire, and then I'm getting stone crushed. See, that was a very, very close. I was really sweating at that point because it was I only escaped by the grace of God at that little instance here. But you could be a lot more liberal with your usage of magic here, and depending on, because as you can see, we have a health chest and a magic chest to fall back on should we ever need that. But this is the second time I'm doing this Brawl, the second time I'm doing this this challenge segment, and as far as like a video guide for it, and I wanted to complete this challenge without having to rely on those two boxes. So it was kind of a challenge within a challenge. But this being on easy or normal mode, whichever it is, it's not even a challenge. I mean, if you're accustomed to playing on hard mode and God mode, the very hard modes, this will be a piece of cake for you, just because you're just gonna be able to take so much damage, and you're gonna be realizing like, wow, if this was on God mode, this would be really tough. But or even hard mode. Hard mode would be tough, and I would probably have to depend on the treasure boxes here. But it's really, if you're a really good player, you don't need to use the chests over there. I mean, but if you do, you're not penalized by any means. It doesn't make you less of a gamer, but and there's no like stipulations that penalize you for opening the chests or whatever. So these Gorgons are a lot harder than the ones in Ghost of Sparta. I just did a guide for Ghost of Sparta. This is actually Chains of Olympus, these challenges. These are based off the Chains of Olympus game. And these Medusas actually attack with their tails and hands. The other ones in Ghost of Sparta, they are so placid. They don't even attack with it. They don't even do any swipes, any tail swipes. They only try to stone you, and they only that's all they do. They try to stone you, and you can't even get. They don't even do any like physical attacks. It's if those guys were here in this stage, it would be a breeze. But you know, it's a breeze anyway. I mean, this kind of shit, this should not cause anybody any trouble. I mean, if you're accustomed to playing on normal and easy mode, then this probably will be a challenge for you. But if you're at the level of like a hard, very hard gamer, this should be a cakewalk. It's just you need to be very cautious when the Gorgons come back after these guys here. We have a couple of Cyclopses here, and using magic. So we felled that first Cyclops. And you see how easy they go down. It's just like one hit when they get that circle prompt over their heads. Now a couple more rear up from the ground over here. And I just think that this could be a little bit funner. Maybe a little less, because they really spam the shit out of those harpies in the beginning. And there's far too many hoplites. I would like to see every enemy that exists in the game in this brawl. You know, if it's going to be a fucking epic brawl, you know, have every enemy come back for the fucking fight. That would be fun. You know, there's a lot of the bestiary in Chains of Olympus is pretty vast for a PSP game. That's not to say that, you know, PSP games are don't usually have a good bestiary, but it has a decent bestiary. Both of the games do. So I'm also considering about if I should do a guide for the challenges in Ghost of Sparta. I may. You may see those. There are more than twice as many challenges in that game than there are here. So, but they're briefer though, to be sure. So here's some more Gorgons. I like flinging them up and dealing a lot of damage to them, either by continually pressing the triangle button, or the square button, or grabbing them whilst they're in the air. Now, a really good technique to use, and I overuse it in this area, especially when the Gorgons come, is just simply grabbing the soldiers, grabbing these hoplites to death, the same way I grabbed the harpies until they lost their wings and they perished. And then they disappeared via that nice screen cleaning technique that all games do. They just clear out the enemies, make them disappear, so there's not a lot of clutter. I think Ninja Gaiden 2 had bodies piling up. That's cool when games do that, though. They don't clean the refuse up, digitally clean the stuff up, make them evaporate. But anyway, so yeah, don't be ashamed to just grab these guys. It's very safe to just be grabbing these guys as opposed to, you know, trying to like fling, you know, right there, trying to fling yourself up with them and having the Gorgons petrify you in the air, and then you come down and land and you're automatically dead. Then you lose, you know, 10, 12 minutes of progress. You got to start over. You don't want to do that. So yeah, these guys are. I don't know why they were really toned down in Ghost of Sparta, the Gorgons, that is. That's not a complaint by any means, because the Gorgons they're a very tough enemy. In God of War 1, there were a lot of iterations of the Gorgons. I think there were 3 iterations of them, and they got progressively harder with more attacks. And I think there were Gorgons, Gorgon Assassins, and then the Gorgon Queens, which were the hardest ones. So in these particular games, there are only one iteration because it's a smaller title, much smaller title than the other God of War games, but the quality's still there. The gameplay is sound. I mean, the mechanics, the combat mechanics are as impeccable as they ever are. So another very, very close call there. I could have lost a lot of progress right there. So there's a challenge in God of War 1 where you're fighting primarily Medusas, and it's the same kind of thing. It's challenge number 8. I even remember which number it is because I did it so many times. There's nothing worse than losing, you know, it's not even a matter of you're doing well and losing progress. It's just that, you know, anytime you make progress and you're satisfied with that progress, even though you may not have been doing your best, you know, progress is progress. and you don't want to lose it when you want to preserve it. When you're dead set on preserving progress, and then all of a sudden you turn into a pile of rocks on the ground from these bitches' stone gaze. So yeah, just be very careful with them. Do the quick time events if you want to, or just hit them when they have the circle over their heads to expedite things. This should be over fairly soon. If not now, it should be over. Oh, okay, we got more. So there's a nice parry. So it's nice when there's just one of them left, but even when there's one of them left, they could stone you when you're in the air, and you come down and you'll be dust, so much dust in the wind. So that's a good technique to use right there. That I'm doing, repeatedly hitting them with the square button. Gonna take this last enemy down. This may be the last one. Nope, there's more enemies. What are these? More hoplites. So you see, it's just like it's beyond overkill at this point. It's like, how many hoplites can you possibly force me to endure here? You see, that's where the boring factor comes in. I mean, at least put some flame guards in here from challenge number 2. Put some flame guards into the mix. And then it would be a lot funner. Maybe change the environment a little bit, because every challenge is in the same environment. Maybe swap out the music for something different. They could have done a little bit more with this, to liven it up. It's called an epic brawl. Make it epic. Okay, so now I got to the point where I busted out the power glove. I probably should have done that sooner. More harpies? I forgot there's so many fucking harpies. Oh my god. It's like we're coming full circle. Now I'm actually curious to know if there is any like symmetry in like the enemy placement. Now, no, I'm sure there isn't, but man. So basically, I was considering just leaving this brawl just without any commentary over it, but I decided to just stick it out. It's I wanted to do a single video with all these trials on here, so I might as well put all the might as well accompany all the gameplay footage with dial narration. If I'm gonna do it for 4, I might as well do them for all 5. So here I'm just pulling the wings off these guys, hitting them once, and then sucking them over to me. And I'm not sure if there's any like larger beasts or brutes after this. I can't recall. It was a day or 2 ago that I did this. But the reason also I didn't want... Did I say that the reason why I didn't get the chest before? It was just because the last time I resorted to getting the chest, and I wasn't as skilled a player back then, last year when I was playing this title. So there we go, rebusting out the power glove. And I think the trophy, the story progression trophy for getting this, isn't this called the power glove? I think it is. It would have been really nice. I was just thinking to fight Demos in Ghost of Sparta with the power glove, since he has one too. That would have been really fun. I know it's kind of irrelevant since these are challenges based off Chains of Olympus, but I just did the boss fight for Ghost of Sparta, Demos, and Thanatos. So is that all the guys? Yeah, you killed all your enemies. Awesome. Okay, so I hope everybody enjoyed this, and I hope you all beat the challenges.